Hi, I'm Linda Hooksma, and I'm here to show you how to write a cover letter without being frustrated in the process. I'm going to share my screen with you, and then we can take it from there. Let me just... Sorry about that. Okay, let's get moving. Okay, this is a training about the cover letter that got Stephen hired. All right. There's a few things that we did differently. Is this you when you try to write a cover letter? Do you get frustrated whenever you have to write a cover letter? I know, I used to get frustrated about it too. But I'm going to show you a way that's going to take the frustration out, and you're going to know exactly what to do after this training. So let's get moving. Okay. There's been a lot of talk lately, especially on LinkedIn, about whether cover letters are still valid and whether they are dead. But I'm here to tell you that cover letters are not dead. In fact, it can be the deciding factor whether you get the job or not. Because sometimes a recruiter is faced after the final rounds of interviews, there's two candidates and it's like head on head. So which one they're going to go with, right? If they have one with a generic cover letter and they have yours with a great story to tell, a connection to the company and everything like that, obviously they're going to choose you. Now, remember, a cover letter is part of your marketing documents. And a lot of recruiters, even though they don't read it, they won't even touch your application with a barge pole if a cover letter is not included. So your cover letter must illustrate that you can get your future employer the actual results. And please, online templates don't work. They all have these generic formats and everybody's doing the same. Now, how on earth are you supposed to stand out when you're doing everything exactly like everybody else? Like all the other 800 applicants that's applying for the same job, if everybody uses the same template, it doesn't work, okay? Your cover letter has to draw the reader in. You need a hook to draw them in, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do here. Your opening paragraph in your cover letter can actually make or break you. Why I say that is you got to draw the reader in. You got to get them to read further so that they can actually see your greatness and that you are a great fit for the role and the company. There's 4 opening paragraph mistakes that most job seekers make. It's being too generic, like I referred to before, with everybody copying and using the sales style templates online. It's a classic template format that you can apply for any job anywhere. And you just basically tweak the role. That's all. The second one is being too vague, and that's normally where you tell recruiters about your extensive experience and claim to have the skills and motivation without the actual proof. Okay. Being desperate. If you give me a chance, you won't be disappointed. It sounds very needy and it shows a clear lack of confidence. And that is not the image we want to portray. Even if you don't have any experience, you still need to show up confidently and know that you can do it. And you got to show them that. And you don't do it by being needy. Okay, being arrogant. That's another eye roll. If you're looking to hire successful and proven, whatever the job title is, look no further. Yeah, right. If you were a recruiter Which one of these two examples would you pick? The first one, dear Mr. Parker, as a highly skilled construction laborer, I read your posting for a new construction job and I want to express my interest. Sorry, I can't see you. My experience aligns well with the qualifications you are seeking at Parker Construction, in particular my role with Fowler Construction, and I'm certain I would make a valuable addition to your organization. Okay, now compare it with this other one, which was actually done for a maintenance role at a large retirement estate. Dear Ashley, a good friend of mine once told me the best years of a person's life are the sunset years. That's a time when you are of the greatest value to those around you in society. Sadly, many of today's younger generation don't feel that way. Therefore, I love that you do so much for our precious hoary heads. I know of quite a number of people who did their greatest work in their 80s and 90s. Me and my wife always had an affinity for our seniors, and actually most of our friends are in their 70s and upwards. We find their conversations stimulating, educational, and entertaining. So many just want to be loved and understood instead of being rejected by society. Which one would you pick? I would definitely pick the second one. Let me just share my screen again. Okay, what you need to do instead is you have to make the company feel special. Don't use generic information that you can get off their website. Be original. Go and dig a bit further. Go look at their financial records over the past quarter. Go find interviews with the CEO online and see if you can pick something out of there that you can use. Tell them something they don't know. Make it interesting for them. To make a connection with the company or the role, and this is especially very, very important for your first paragraph, introduction paragraph in your cover letter, is ask these questions. What's the link between you and the company? Are you a customer or a fan? Are they a well-known household brand? Perhaps you grew up with them. Did you meet people at a careers event that really inspired you? Did they go to the same school as you? Are they involved in a particular charity that you're also interested in, perhaps? Or is there an emotional connection or attachment that you feel between their story or mission and your own? There's 9 types of hooks you can use, and when we go through these, you'll see why the questions in the previous slide, and you will also note the example that I shared with you earlier on about the one for the maintenance role at a retirement village. You can use the personal connection to the industry, the I'm already a customer, the life story link, we share the same passion, the I grew up with you, the let's join forces, the we have a mutual connection, the we share core beliefs, and I'll definitely solve your problem. Now, these hooks you can find in the accompanying swipe file that I gave you as part of the training. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. Ever wondered what maintaining a 4-star guest lodge and winemaking has in common? Both disciplines are rooted in science, precision, and is a real art to pull off. From the seamless look of tiles perfectly aligning to turning the unsightly spectacle of wiring into an art feature to provide a smooth, pleasing sight and the ultimate feel of luxury. That's what I mean. You get maintenance and you get maintenance. Because an aesthetically beautiful environment not only uplifts the spirit, it also plays a major part in your staff's productivity. doing it exceptionally well is an art fueled by a vision of happy smiles, happy guests, happy employees, and 5-star ratings. So let's turn our Dwala Lodge into a 5-star environment, shall we? Now, do you see the connection here between winemaking, it was for a wine estate, as well as the maintenance? Here you make a connection between the two, and you actually tell a story. In the next example, we're looking at one for also maintenance, where it was for a pet wholesaler or retailer. Yeah, it was a pet retailer, I think it was. My memory serves me correct, but listen to this one, this story. When you call your bad-tempered ginger Fetty Fuck, daddy's boy, or you go without so that Mr. can have his favorite snack, you know you got it really bad. He's way more than a pet or a furry friend. He's your baby. What really fires me up about your store manager's role is being part of a bigger mission to serve like-minded pet parents and take the movement, being the undisputed pet champions nationwide, through a family culture that not only provide the ultimate shopping experience and sense of community for pet parents, but also takes retail customer service to a whole new level. Now let's quickly dissect this example here. You made the connection right from the start to show or to prove that you are also a pet parent. That is their target audience, obviously. And then you brought the store manager role into it by showing that you are also passionate about making their mission your mission and taking it nationwide, which was their goal based on the research that we did. And also taking it to the next level, improving, making it like a family experience, really bringing that connection into it. Does this make sense? Another example, and what we did here was we did a little bit differently with this one, is we used a headline that connects directly to a company's biggest headache, and that is to retain staff that really goes all out. A lot of times, or most of the times, companies will hire staff and they're just interested in what's in it for them. They have no interest in the company reaching their targets or whatever else. So they don't give great work. They're chatting more to the other employees and what they're actually doing the work, and those type of employees that you get. And so this one was based on research that Dan Kennedy, the great marketer, did when he spoke to a group of CEOs and he asked them what was their biggest headache. And the response was that only about 5% of all the people we employ consistently exhibit self-reliant behavior. And so we tapped directly into that. First of all, we drew the attention with a striking headline that speaks directly to that problem. And then in the opening paragraph, then we referred to this study or this that was done by Dan Kennedy. And then you state that you are one of the 5% because you appreciate their investment in you and for trusting you with their business. Okay, so you're actually complimenting them there as well. And this actually had them so excited that they got hold of him straight away and he got hired on the spot. Okay. Now, as a copywriter, I learned the following principles, which you need to use in your cover letter as well. Okay. You need to structure your cover letter according to this formula. And I'll tell you why, because this is how they write effective sales letters. And that is actually what your cover letter is. Your cover letter is a sales letter. Now, how can you write a proper sales letter if you don't even know half the copywriting tips and tricks that you need to know? So I'm going to share with you the most important ones, the only ones that you need. Remember, your cover letter is your sales letter. Now, first of all, use an attention-grabbing headline that stirs his pain up, the pain of the company or what the problem they want to solve, okay? Now, you can either do it like we did in the previous example that I showed you, or you can do it in your reference line, but make sure that it is readable and use this for you formula that I've got on the side here. It must be unique, useful, urgent, and ultra specific. The second point is your introduction needs to tell a story that essentially does two things. It's got to paint a picture and it makes a promise. The third thing that you need to include is then you prove your claims by matching your skills up to solving their biggest problems. And normally you go for 2 or 3 of the biggest core competencies that they're looking for. And then you have to back it up by proof. You have to back it up by a mini case study where you show how you've done that, how you can use that in this role. And then your closing paragraph is a call to action to call you for an interview, if whatever. And at the last slide that I'm going to share with you, I'm actually giving you a template for your closing paragraph that you can use, which is a soft call to action without being too pushy, okay? Now, here's where most job seekers get it wrong as well when they do the case studies. And I've done the same thing until I've learned better, until I've done the copywriting and I've learned about benefits versus features. Now, the features is the actual thing. The benefits is what you get by using the actual thing, okay? Now, like I mentioned just now, that your cover letter is your sales letter. And when we write sales letters, we focus on the benefits because that is why people buy. People buy from emotion, and then they want to justify it logically, okay? So that's where you have to bring the balance in. You have to show them the benefits so that they buy emotionally into your cover letter, and then you give them the features so that they can justify it logically, all right? Now, the 4 skill sets that we used for this one was mentoring, being organized, staff management, and flexibility. But now I want you to notice how we phrased it. We phrased them, those features, as benefits. For mentoring, instead of saying mentoring, we said happy clients and customers that consistently come back. Translation, more recurring revenue. And here's how he did it. It says, I was able to guide and assist, in other words, mentor AC/DC Dynamics customers to safely install and troubleshoot their products 90% of the time. So you have your quantifiable result there, and you show that you've mentored them in how to safely install and troubleshoot the products, right? But look how we phrased it. Happy clients and customers. That's a benefit. Their customers was happy because now they could confidently install the new products that they bought. So they would keep coming back and the business would make more recurring revenue. Being organized, solving your operational problems. And then he has the example that he used here. At Eastside Electrical, I introduced effective standard operating procedures that reduce delivery times by 6 hours and cut delivery queries by 70%. Once again, you have your quantifiable results, and you showed how you solved the operational problems by being organized. You streamlined, he streamlined the process, that reduced the delivery times, and he introduced effective standard operating procedures. And then he also refers here to a case study for more information, which he linked to so they could go and click and they could go and read it if they were interested in reading more. Staff management. Happy staff and reduced staff turnover. Once again, I cut staff turnover in the dispatch department at Eastside Electrical by 50% by weeding out incompetent staff and placing temporary staff on permanent and establish trust-based relationships between employees and management. Actually, what he could have also said, how he also could have said, is facilitated trust-based relationships between employees and management. Okay. Flexibility. Now, the flexibility was a case of they asked him to do this job and he'd never done this before. He was actually, well, he's actually a qualified electrician. And he went to work for these people. I can't remember exactly what he was supposed to do. But yeah, and then the only position they had open at the time was the dispatch, because the dispatch manager had just made a duck, that he's absconded. And so they asked him if he would be interested in seeing if he can make it work. And he did. He did. So even if you don't have a lot of experience, you can show flexibility by using a situation that you had where you were flexible, and you can show that you can actually do that. Flexibility when you need it most, being thrown in the deep end with no logistical experience, I was able to improve and stabilize the dispatch department at Eastside Electrical. See case study. That's why I always say you don't always need to have all the experience or qualifications for a particular role if you want to pivot. There are ways and means that you can use it. Yeah, he used not having that experience actually as a benefit, because it's flexibility. And especially sometimes when they need to quickly train someone to fill a gap, then I'm your guy, because I learn quickly. But to say I learn quickly and whatever, everybody does that. So, you know, it gets screened out. But here you showed how that can be an asset to them. What we included in the cover letter, which most people don't do, and they never even talk about it, is we included a little sidebar on the right hand of the cover letter. Now, nobody does this, so this actually puts you at an advantage, because it gives the recruiter a quick idea of what to expect of you. But make sure that it is true, that you can back it up with references that's printable as well, and then take it from there. But just use 2 or 3 sentences. Don't write letters, okay? And then finally, the close, or your call to action. And this is a template that you can use to close your cover letter. It's a soft call to action without being pushy. And it's really a nice way of putting it. If this letter has ignited your curiosity, I would love to continue this conversation with you in greater detail. I can be reached at any time at your email address or your telephone number to schedule an interview. Right, that is it for cover letter. I hope that this will inspire you to write a cover letter that will really inspire recruiters and get you to book those interviews.